Hi, so for this tutorial, I'm just going to focus on a couple of the anterior pituitary hormones that had the feedback loops and try and keep it brief so you're not here all day. Looking at this list, we are going to hit adrenocorticotropic hormone first, then we will talk about follicle stimulating hormone and luteinizing hormone together, as these are called the gonadotropins. Then we'll hit growth hormone and go through all of the growth hormone stuff. So first up is ACTH, otherwise known as adrenocorticotropic hormone. So it, as you will remember, is going to be under the control of the hypothalamic hormone corticotropin releasing hormone, or CRH. So when the hypothalamus senses stress, it is going to release corticotropin releasing hormone, or CRH. This is going to travel down the pituitary portal vein to the anterior pituitary, where it will stimulate the release of adrenocorticotropic hormone. Adrenocorticotropic hormone will then enter the bloodstream, and when it gets to the adrenal cortex, it will find its receptors, and there it will stimulate the production of glucocorticoids. If you will remember, the glucocorticoid that we care about is cortisol. So cortisol will then enter the bloodstream, and when it finds its way to the hypothalamus, it will block the release of corticotropin releasing hormones, so that once you have adequate levels of cortisol, the hypothalamus will stop releasing corticotropin releasing hormone, and then ACTH levels will decline. So that is adrenocorticotropic hormone. So let me just say, follicle stimulating hormone and luteinizing hormone are both known as the gonadotropins and are regulated together as a pair. Function we will worry about later. So this is what it looks like. It's going to start in the hypothalamus again. There are many stimuli that can lead to or trigger the hypothalamus. But for whatever reason, which is not important, the hypothalamus will release gonadotropin releasing hormone, or GnRH. This will travel down the pituitary portal vein to the pituitary gland, which will then release either LH or FSH, usually both. I just have LH on the PowerPoint. LH and FSH will then target the ovaries and the testes, depending on your gender. Then the ovaries or testes will produce either testosterone or estrogen, and testosterone and estrogen will feed back on the hypothalamus. And I have the positive and minus both there because it's not always consistently a negative feedback loop. It is only important that you know that testosterone and estrogen feed back on the hypothalamus to control the release of GnRH and therefore the gonadotropins LH and FSH. So next up is growth hormone, and I think I'm going to talk briefly about growth hormone regulation and the effects that growth hormone has, and then we'll go through the big fun diagram. So starting things off, there are two hypothalamic hormones that regulate the release of growth hormone. Growth hormone releasing hormone, or GHRH, and growth hormone inhibiting hormone. So when your hypothalamus decides it is time for you to grow, it will release growth hormone releasing hormone. This will cause the release of growth hormone from the anterior pituitary. So growth hormone, once it starts circulating, is going to have direct and indirect effects. The direct effects are those effects that result from growth hormone binding to the growth hormone receptor. These include things like increasing fat breakdown, So throughout your body, you're going to be tapping into your long-term energy stores to fuel the process of growing, which is obviously going to be energy intensive. Growth hormone is also going to cause glycogen breakdown in the liver, which is another way of increasing blood glucose levels so that your body has the energy it needs to stimulate growth or to fuel growth. And then the last direct effect that growth hormone, has is to cause the liver to produce insulin-like growth factors. The indirect effects are going to be the effects of the insulin-like growth factors. So when the insulin-like growth factors are released from the liver, they're going to circulate throughout the body. When they hit bone and cartilage, they stimulate mitosis. So your growth plates keep growing and your bones keep getting longer. At the same time, the insulin-like growth factors are going to promote muscle growth, which is primarily done through protein synthesis so that your muscles get bigger and longer so that they can keep up with your growing skeleton. So now you have insulin-like growth factors and growth hormone circulating throughout your bloodstream. They are going to make their way back at some point to the hypothalamus, and when they reach high enough levels, they are going to cause the production of growth hormone inhibiting hormone, which will travel down the pituitary portal vein and block the production of growth hormone so that you have the right level of growth hormone to fuel normal growth. All right, so this is the big complicated picture from lecture that we went over. We'll start here in the hypothalamus. So the hypothalamus, for whatever reason, has determined it is time for you to grow. It will release or produce growth hormone releasing hormone, which will travel down the pituitary portal vein to the anterior pituitary, where it will stimulate the release of growth hormone. Growth hormone will then circulate throughout the body. It will increase fat breakdown so that you're releasing energy from the fat and convert that into glucose and increase the amount of glucose that your body is generating. So now you have the energy to fuel growth. In the liver, growth hormone is going to cause the production of insulin-like growth factors. When these circulate and they hit skeleton and extraskeletal tissues, mostly think of muscle, they are going to cause growth of the skeleton and the cartilage, as well as growth of muscles in both sort of length and width. You'll get protein synthesis and cell growth in your muscles. The insulin-like growth factors and growth hormone will then both feed back negatively on the hypothalamus and stimulate the production of GHIH, growth hormone inhibiting hormone, which is going to inhibit growth hormone release. So at some point, you'll have a balance between growth hormone releasing hormone and growth hormone inhibiting hormone, and you'll be releasing just the right amount of growth hormone to keep growth going at a normal pace. And that's it in under 10 minutes. Hope you enjoyed it.